Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. You are listening to the Mara Mukunda Show on Salam Media, and it is time for our book review. Today, we are reviewing the book After Hardship Comes Ease, authored by Sheikh Saeed Abduh Malizani. I've had Sheikh before last year, but we're going to just do a recap of that interview, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh Saeed. Shukran for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah for having me.
Alhamdulillah, shukran. So, Sheikh, since the last time that we spoke, that time the book was still in the publishing process. So, let's do a quick recap of the book and give us an update. Tell us what the book is all about.
Yeah, basically, After Hardship Comes Ease is what it says in the sub heading, the survival guide through tough times and how to move on after calamities. Because what I've realized is we have a big gap, especially for Muslims, when it comes to anything that has to do with therapy and counseling. People do not know how to cope with problems, because I would like to say, because most of us as imams, we are not qualified and trained to give people the type of counseling that they really need. So I saw that gap and I said, it is better that I put this book into print. I write things down. Basically, this book has steps of things that you can do to cope. We have topics like understanding what trials and tribulations are, and we've got topics like gratitude therapy, where you use the tools that Allah has given us, psychology has given us, to go through hardships and to be able to move on after hardship. So basically, that is what the book is about.
So the book has a special structure to it with the 30 days. Tell us about that structure and what inspired it.
The book is this 30-day structure where you have, before the days start, you got an introduction. It tells you about the trials and tribulations and understanding it, the combination or the relationship between Islam and counseling and psychology, the differences between conventional psychology and Islamic psychology. So it explains this to a Muslim so that he has this correct mindset before he goes in there. And also in the beginning, before the days, we speak about the power of habits, where I quote extensively from one of the books called The Power of Habits, because the book is all about changing you. As Allah says, you have to change what is within yourself if you want the conditions around you to change. So because we basically saying you must not rely on people, even a counselor, to change you. If you're not ready, we say in therapy, if you're not ready to change yourself, no one can change you. There's actually a joke that they say in therapy that how many counselors or how many therapists it takes to change a light bulb. They say it only takes one therapist. The light bulb has to want to change. So basically, it means that you first of all has to want to have this change. So sometimes we fall into problems because of bad habits that we have. This is just an example. Not everybody falls into problems because of the bad habits. So it gives that overview in the beginning that also habits can affect you. Then it starts with a special structure of day 1, day 2. So in each day you find we have a motivational story from the Quran, the Hadith, or from the glorious path of Islam. Then it gives you some benefits from counseling and psychology, some motivation as well. Then it gives you there's an extra page which acts as a daily journal where you have to write your resolutions after you have read about this on that particular day. What are you resolving to do for that particular day? So what inspired that is the fact that I've been speaking to a lot of people with a lot of problems, and the structure that I use, basically I speak to people on different sessions. So I'm speaking this book with people who have problems in mind, that if someone has to use my book as therapy by itself, to an extent, it can't do that 100%. Of course, you need a therapist. I'm saying to an extent, if you have to use this book as therapy by itself, you'll be able to do one thing at a time. So also it comes from the side of coaching, where we tell people that, if you need to conquer any dream, any problem, you have to break it down into small pieces. So that's the idea, so that, at least you do it once, to one day, you do one step, you take one step. Another day, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it in 30 days. Another day, another second day, you do something else, and you write your notes at the back. So that's what inspired the book to be in these 30 days. As well, on the 30 days, on each day, you find there is an exercise that you have to do, a therapeutic exercise that actually helps you in therapy, in recovering, in becoming a better person.
All right. So we are currently facing a global pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic right now. And we've seen many people lose their jobs, many people lose their homes, many people lose a lot because of this pandemic itself. So that in itself is a hardship. So how can how can we use this book to get through such hardships that we're facing?
There is examples in this book that we could use. This first one I already spoke about, where it says that we have to understand what trials and tribulations are. And it's actually a very long topic of about 10 or more pages. So this is how we have to understand what trials and tribulations are from the side of Islam. And there is also another topic that speaks about when you're looking at trials and tribulations, sometimes they are not as you see them. Sometimes we just have to look at the roses amongst the thorns, instead of seeing thorns amongst the roses. Basically looking at the bright side of things. It's easy to say. I know it's not easy to do, but this is what this book is all about. I'll be explaining all that in the book. And also you have topics like gratitude attitude in the first 9 days, where you are taught to say, okay, let's focus on what you have. At least right now, you have a roof over your head, you can eat something, maybe you have relatives that can help you, maybe your salary is cut, but at least you still have a salary. We're saying, okay, look at the brighter side of things. Maybe this is an advantage for you in one way or the other. Maybe this is a breakthrough for you in another way. You might not even need it today, maybe you see it tomorrow. Another example that I give in the book is, I love to give this example many times, of the story of Musa and Al-Khidr, where Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he went with Al-Khidr in Surah Kahf, and he on 3 occasions, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam failed to understand, to grasp what Al-Khidr was doing. The examples are the example when Al-Khidr broke the boat in which they had been given transport to go to another place, and Musa was very angry with it. And Al-Khidr explained to Musa wasalam that this is what I explained to you before, that you will never be able to have patience with me. So we learn as well in this time of COVID-19, sometimes we just need to be patient. The answers will come only at the end. So after 3 incidents that happened, Al-Khidr said to Musa, you go your way and I go my way, but before you go, I'll explain to you what happened. And only on this example that I gave from the surah, Al-Khidr explains to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam that the reason why I broke the boat was because it was more advantageous than disadvantageous as you think. I was actually saving this boat for the boys who use it as transportation. It's their means of income. So in front, where they were going, there's a king, and this king seizes every new boat. But because I broke it, it won't look new to the king. So at least they have lost, but they have gained. So sometimes these small losses, Allah is actually saving us from bigger losses. We cannot see them now, and maybe we can see them in future. And also we need certain attitudes, certain types of mentality to see these advantages, to see these advantages that are come as calamities, as tribulations.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So we have to always look at the bigger picture instead of looking at what we're currently facing at the moment. So speaking about the book that is just recently been published, the last time we spoke, it was still not published, a manuscript. So were there any challenges that you faced such that you could only publish it now?
I faced lots of challenges. Actually, I think one of the things that I would like to do to help other people who are writers out there, some people have reached out to me to say, how did you publish and what can I do? Especially a lot of Muslims, publishing in the traditional way has its advantages and disadvantages. One disadvantage is it's very expensive. And advantage of publishing by yourself, like what I did, it's you do it during your own time. You put money together slowly and put it and put your book aside. So one of the biggest challenges, of course, was finances. To put money together to come up with a big book. This book is 545 pages, so printing it out was not easy. So some of the challenges that I faced, it was my first time to have a book published, and I was doing it. When they talk about self-publishing, the company is doing it for you. They still call it self-publishing, anyways. I don't know how, but this was like self-publishing. Like I was doing it by myself via my NPO. So you find that we say that this book was published by Message Africa, but basically that is the NPO that I founded. So I just did it through the NPO. So the challenges were with editing the book, making sure that the language is good, the language structure is not difficult for people to understand. Coming up with all this, research was also difficult. Verifying the facts that I was writing there, because basically you're writing psychological research, and you have to back it up. Where are you taking this from? And that was the easy part. I think after that, when the manuscript was in my hand, I went to the printers. I did not know about anything. I went to the printers. They said, "No, you can't bring the book as it is. You have to do it. You have to make it print ready. You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to print it on the computer. They call it in a PDF print ready." All that was not easy for me, and it needed some money. And after all that was done, and with the editing, I was trying to get editors who, not cheap, but were reasonable rates. All that was very tough for me. And I actually read the book more than 3-5 times myself, because I'm sort of a perfectionist, but I think it was a good thing that I wanted to make sure that what I'm writing is good, because out there, some people will pick up your book, and all they'll see is mistakes. They'll see grammar errors. They will see that, hey, the sheikh wrote about this hadith in this Quranic verse, and he misquoted, and he wrote about this psychological test, and it's not verified. And so I was looking at all these things. I had all these worries, of course, sleepless nights, and I basically was sleeping during the afternoon for a few minutes, and I had to do what had to be done. And the biggest challenge was, I was, as far as I know, the first person to write this type of book. If not in South Africa, if not in Africa, in the state of Africa, to write this type of book on self-help, Islamic self-help. Basically, I've seen done my homework. I've seen few books written all over the world by fewer people. So it was a challenge, and I think I will learn from it, and other people will learn from, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, that was your hardship, and you found ease after that hardship. So Alhamdulillah. All right, now, how has the book been received by those who have read it so far?
I won't talk about those who have read it so far. I haven't had any reviews, because I think the book has been out for only a week. But the reception itself, when I put it on Facebook, and I had few friends and who helped me to make sure that people know about the book. It was overwhelming. It was overwhelming how it was received by the people. I've been sitting. I just sit at home. I'm doing the second book already, and that's what I've been doing. Just doing the second book and receiving messages from people, orders and orders and orders. And if there were South African orders only, I was not going to be very, very amazed. But I was amazed, because there's lots of orders. People, they want to read all this book. And I had few people saying, "No, let's see a few pages so I can see what the book is all about." And I've been patient in doing all that. But I was more overwhelmed when I was receiving messages from, I received messages from Kashmir. I received from Pakistan. And overwhelming majority, besides South Africa, were from the UK, and that was, it means that the book has already been well received. And with that, I have to say, with people from the UK, Kashmir, and Pakistan, shipping costs have been a problem, and I hadn't thought of that. I just thought of me as a writer. I've written the book and I've published the book, and because of that, I'd like also to give that update. Me and my team, we are currently working on an ebook, inshallah. Very soon, in a few days, we'll be telling people that we have an ebook. So those who cannot bear the shipping costs, they can always buy an ebook of the same book, inshallah, and enjoy it.
Inshallah, I mean, speaking about the book and its availability, how can people buy it or order it?
The people want to buy the book, they can contact me on Facebook. And on Facebook, I already put my cell phone number. They can reach me on WhatsApp at any time. I always receive these messages. If I'm not there, someone is running the WhatsApp to reply to them and to take orders and to do the shipping of the book and all that. And we're giving the around Johannesburg and the East End. We're actually delivering the book, of course, at an extra cost. Those who are beyond Johannesburg, we have to courier the book.
All right, Alhamdulillah. And lastly, Sheikh, what advice would you give to first-time writers? I know there are many people out there who are just trying to write but don't have any idea of how to go about doing it. And you're a first-time writer yourself, self-published as well, and you have faced many challenges. So what advice would you give to them?
The advice I would give is you have first of all you have to know that you are a writer. I've had people sending me messages and telling me that they are writers, and I tell them, okay, send me a few pages of your work. And not everyone is a writer, but a lot of people are aspiring to be writers. So first of all, you must be sure that you are a writer. And secondly, you must develop yourself very much. You have to be a reader. There's no other substitute. You have to read a lot of books. Of course, we talk about the English language. You have to read a lot of books in English language. And number three is when we are reading these books, you have to master the type of English that you are going to use. Like I was educated in Zimbabwe, so basically I speak and write in British English, right? So you have to know I'm going to be read a lot of books which are written in British English. And if you know the differences, then it is good. And as well, there's a lot of tools that you can use as a writer, of course, that I talk to the people separately, because this is going to be another long lecture. There's tools that you can use as a writer to format your book and to make sure that your book is in good format, and all these editing tools as well that you can use. They can guide you between this British and American English story as well. And most importantly, you have to know which genre you're writing in. A lot of people, they think that, the example, you can think that you're a poet, but maybe you're not a poet. But maybe you're not a bad writer, but maybe you are in the wrong line. When I started writing, the first thing that I was writing about was poetry. I wrote poetry for so many years, which I never published. It's just sitting with me. And after some time, I started writing plays, because I was in a lot of drama in school. All these play things was the degree I wanted to study first was drama and literature. So I went on writing a lot on that. I didn't publish. And after that, I started writing biographies. Then I told myself, how many people I'm going to get to write biographies. I never thought in my life that I was going to write a self-help book, because I never read self-help books until I started studying psychology. I wanted to help people. Then, as I started writing short documents on psychology and Islamic psychology, then I realized that, I can actually do this. And I think now this is my most powerful genre that I can write in, better than poetry and any other thing. So they have to know which part they are in, and then they can start writing. And they must always ask advice from people that have written books before, and seek advice, talk to other people. Sometimes you think your work is good until you show it around. I've been showing this book around, including Sister Mariam has read the book before. I've given it to a few friends as well that they've read the book. You listen to what other people say. They're gonna critique you. You hear critics, and then you must take the criticism as well. And even with myself, one sister from UK gave me the idea of an ebook. Like, Sheikh, why don't you make an ebook? And she thought she said she had overstepped. I said, no, sister, you're not overstepping. This is positive criticism. So you must also be ready to take as well positive criticism from the people, and you carry on and do what you need to do best. And another thing is, you must know there's no substitute to hard work. You have to sleep less, and you have to stay fit as well. You have to be mentally fit. You have to read, to write one book, you have to read more than 10 books, 15 books, maybe, depends what you're writing about. So you have to be a reader, you have to be mentally fit, you have to know what you're writing about. You can't just go write on a certain subject or topic which you are not well versed in. Of course, you must always ask people for their advice.
All right. Jazakallah so much for your time, Sheikh, and I wish you well in your future endeavors. And I hope that this book will be sold out and reprinted and more and more. And we'll also be looking forward to a part 2 and more self-help books, inshallah.
Inshallah. No more books are coming, definitely. Inshallah.
Inshallah. I mean, Sheikh, shukran for your time, and have a lovely day. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Sheikh Saeed Malizani, the author of the book titled After Hardship Comes Ease. If you'd like to order yourself a copy of this 30-day survival guide or self-help book on how to overcome hardship, then you can find Sheikh on Facebook, and you can place your order and it will be couriered to you, and start with your self-help journey, inshallah. And I think I found my genre. I'm a storyteller. When am I going to start telling you guys stories? I have no idea, but I should do it as soon as possible. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.